made you want to write for kids?
My decision was deliberate because I had written for adults accidentally. All I wanted to do was tell stories. I really couldn't stand the idea of writing and then my work just being dormant on some website. I didn't want to be one of those people who's like, check out my blog, guys, even though that's now what I'm doing. But thanks to BookTrust. No, but I found like it was like really difficult and to try and get that traffic. So I decided what I knew best was storytelling, live storytelling. My mum is an amazingly large character, and I had lots of practice watching her host a massive table and tell stories with her ginormous giggling, bouncing boobs. And that's how I learned, and I wanted to do old school, stripped back, Mother Goose live storytelling because that's all I knew. And then a publisher happened to be in the audience. Nothing really was that deliberate at that stage. However, when I started going to schools and meeting young people, there is an incredible lack of young people that think they can write, and it's scary. And they are crippled by their spelling, by their grammar, by such ridiculous, stupid things, hurdles that are minimal hurdles, they're not realistic. And I just find that really frightening, how many kids particularly know the meanings of words but won't use the meaning of words because they don't know how to spell a word.
Women never talk about work, women never talk about politics, women never talk about money, you know, this is the hard ass shit we need to be talking about. You know, we need to be talking about revolution. You know, this whole idea that, you know, sort of like, you know, this generation is politically disenfranchised and apathetic, you know, that's, you know, I think revolution is a very good hobby for a young woman. You know, I urgently urge everyone to take it up.
And in children's publishing, almost everyone in it is female. So it's like, you know, why aren't we having this? It's not a problem of underrepresentation. So what is it that's stopping?
Do you know what? It reminds me of something else. Whenever I do writing workshops, the same point. Another thing that's really scary is how whenever kids do write, they straight away, I mean, a lot of the work that I do is a lot of it is based in East London, and there's largely a community there that isn't just solely British. It's a whole muddle of amazing people with different backgrounds. They'll start writing, you've got somebody called Mevish or Sheena, and she's like, Alice Kate went to the door. It's like, that's not your life. You don't. That she went to grab a burger. It's like, at home, what do you eat? You don't eat a burger possibly at home. Like, you don't come from these places. They'll be like, she lived in the centre of London. You don't live in the centre of London. People feel like that their life's not interesting, and it bothers me so much.
Our reproduction, kind of, you know, all of our physical sides, the ways that we think differently to men. That's all the abnormal stuff. The normal stuff is being men. So to be a young girl, or, you know, to come from a different culture. On top of that, you know, the idea of you being normal, and the only way that we can, you know, we basically need to expand the idea of the word normal, and the way that we do that is far more effectively done through popular culture than it is through politics. Every time a woman writes, every time a woman writes a book, every time a woman writes a story, you are just increasing the lexicon, you are expanding what the terms of normal are, and that's why the most important thing is to just write it. You know, you need someone to just shout you and hit you.
I've been given the advice before that when you're writing for children, you should make your main character a boy, because apparently girls can identify with male characters, but boys won't identify with female characters. And how do you respond to that?
Who's watching that?
I'm not going to tell you.
I think that's an extraordinary thing to say. Isn't it?
Actually, I've been told that.
Really?
And the whole thing is about, well, boys don't read books that have a girl on the cover. A common thing in children's publishing to have that kind of dialogue, but I actually think we've taken our eye off the ball and we're neglecting our girls. And now you have girls, sort of 6 and 7 and 8, worried about, are they too fat, their body image, is some boy going to like them because of whatever? And I actually think we've done them a disservice from the very fact that we've concentrated so much on boys and their reading, that it's, oh well, girls read anyway, so let's concentrate on boys.
I think Girls has done a huge amount for that. It made being a real girl, being a normal girl, just very okay. But we kind of knew it was okay, but we needed popular culture to just say to everybody else it's okay. I understand women a bit better after seeing Girls. And it's amazing that it's taken this long, that that's only come out in the last few years. I think that's extraordinary, but it's definitely opened a door for women to be able to write about women in a way that women actually behave and think. And women think like men a lot more than women tell men we think about men. It's really important to me in Paper Airplanes that my female characters had male emotions, because I have really male emotions. I don't like drippy guys who want to get off with me. I find them really annoying. But as a girl, I'm supposed to think that's lovely, and I'm supposed to be really, really fluffy about love.
The whole thing of I couldn't afford books. I didn't go into a bookshop until I was 14. But I was always in my local library. And this assumption that your world is everybody else's just really gets me cross.
Well, there's also a difference between an education So again, people go, well, you don't need libraries anymore because you've got the internet. There's a difference between if you Google something on the internet, it's going to bring it up according to what everybody else has looked for before. It brings up the most popular things, so you tread down the same path as everybody else.
It's in your eyes.